The Galactic Military Academy's lecture hall buzzed with nervous energy as cadets from 17 different species settled into their seats. Today's xenobiology class promised to be unlike any other. Professor Veltar had arranged for a live demonstration that would test every cadet's resolve. James Chen sat in the middle row, his human physiology making him stand out among the scaled, furred, and chitinous beings around him. Beside him, Lisa Martinez adjusted her tablet, both humans, exchanging glances as whispers filled the air in a dozen alien languages. "I heard they're bringing a void stalker," chittered Zixta, a mantis-like Arxian cadet, her compound eyes reflecting genuine fear. "My clutch mother told stories of how they hunt in the deep space between stars." Lisa leaned toward James. "Think it's just another scare tactic? Like when they brought those deadly earth spiders last month?" James shrugged, remembering how the other cadets had recoiled in terror from what were essentially harmless house spiders. "Probably, though I still don't understand why everyone thinks earth fauna is so terrifying." The massive doors at the front of the hall groaned open and Professor Veltar entered. The Cathari instructor's 4 arms gestured dramatically as 2 heavily armed guards flanked a reinforced containment unit that hovered behind them. "Cadets," Veltar's translator rendered his clicking speech into standard galactic. "Today we study the apex predator of the void, a creature so dangerous that entire star systems have been quarantined after voidstalker infestations." The containment unit hummed ominously. Through its transparent aluminum walls, something large and dark shifted within. "This specimen was captured at great cost," Veltar continued, his bioluminescent throat sac pulsing with emphasis. 3 ships were lost in the retrieval mission. I present this lesson not to frighten you but to prepare you for the realities you may face in deep space assignments. Several cadets had already moved to the back rows. The Glimerians, with their crystalline bodies, were practically vibrating with anxiety. Even the usually stoic Corvani had their defensive spines partially extended. "Now," Veltar announced, "we release the beast." The containment field flickered off with a sharp electronic whine. What emerged defied every expectation except those of the 2 humans present. The creature was indeed large, perhaps 8 feet from nose to tail, with midnight black fur that seemed to absorb light. Its eyes were golden and intelligent, with vertical pupils that contracted in the lecture hall's illumination. Powerful muscles rippled beneath its coat as it stretched, revealing impressive fangs and retractable claws. The non-human cadets collectively gasped, several reaching for emergency beacons. But James just smiled. "Oh, you beautiful thing," Lisa whispered, her eyes lighting up with recognition. The Void Stalker, which looked remarkably like an oversized earth panther, padded into the room with fluid grace. Its head swiveled as it assessed its new environment, taking in the scents and sounds. Professor Veltar backed away respectfully, his translator crackling with nervous energy. "Observe how it surveys for the weakest prey," he narrated. "Note the predatory focus, the way it—" The creature's attention fixed on the humans. Several cadets whimpered as the beast began moving purposefully toward James and Lisa. "Nobody move," hissed Veltar. "Sudden movements trigger their hunting instincts." But James was already extending his hand, making soft clicking sounds with his tongue. "Here, kitty. Come here, gorgeous." The Void Stalker approached with increasing enthusiasm, its massive tail swishing in what any human would recognize as pleasure. When it reached James, it did something that caused half the class to dive under their desks. It purred. The sound was like a small earthquake, a deep rumbling that seemed to resonate through the floor. The creature pressed its enormous head against James's chest, nearly knocking him from his chair. "Good kitty," James laughed, scratching behind, ears the size of dinner plates. "You're just a big baby, aren't you?" Lisa joined in, running her fingers through the creature's impossibly soft fur. The Void Stalker's purr intensified, and it began making biscuits on James's lap with paws that could probably crush steel. Professor Veltar stood frozen, all 4 arms trembling. This is not possible. The behavioral patterns, The aggression. Indicators? Professor, Lisa called out, still petting the contented beast. What exactly do these things eat in the wild? They consume stellar radiation and cosmic particles, Veltar managed. They're energy feeders, not biological predators. James nodded sagely. So basically, they're space cats who eat light instead of mice. The Void Stalker had apparently decided that James's lap was the perfect spot for a nap. Despite weighing several hundred pounds, it somehow managed to curl up across both human seats, its purr creating a soothing white noise that filled the lecture hall. Incredible, whispered a Corvani cadet who had crept closer. How did you know it was safe? Body language, Lisa explained, gently stroking the sleeping creature's flank. Ears forward, tail up, direct eye contact followed by slow blinking. Classic friendly behavior. But the reports, Veltar protested weakly. The destroyed ships, the quarantined systems. James considered this. Professor, were those ships perhaps using high-energy drives? Fusion cores, antimatter reactors? That kind of thing? Well, yes, but... And I bet the crew panicked when these guys showed up looking for snacks, James continued. Started shooting, probably damaged their own power systems, created a feedback loop. The quarantined systems, Lisa added, probably just have these beautiful cats floating around happy as can be, eating solar radiation and wondering why everyone keeps running away. The Void Stalker stretched in its sleep, one massive paw draping over James's arm in a gesture of complete trust. Around the lecture hall, cadets slowly began to approach. The Arxians were particularly fascinated, their compound eyes reflecting wonder rather than fear. Even Professor Veltar had begun taking notes on his datapad. This changes everything, the professor muttered. Decades of xenobiological assumptions. Sometimes, James said softly, not wanting to wake his new friend. The scariest thing about the unknown isn't what it might do to you. It's what you might do to it, Lisa finished, if you let fear make the decisions. The Void Stalker purred on, dreaming whatever dreams apex space predators have, completely safe in the knowledge that these strange bipedal creatures understood the universal language of kindness. Class was dismissed early that day, but most cadets stayed to take turns gently petting Earth's latest ambassador to the galaxy.